At a wedding, the guests are having a great time with dancing and music. The father-in-law of the groom, Ivan, a gangster, is in attendance. A waiter is checked before entering his section and goes to serve the table drinks. He spills drinks on Ivan but apologizes and leaves quickly, not before slicing Ivan's throat. He fights his way out of the building, taking out multiple armed guards before disappearing onto the street. This man is Vincent Brazil, a world-class contract killer. He enters a rundown apartment, which is actually a cover for his beautiful home, where he keeps all his deadly weapons. We then see the corrupt Interpol chief meeting with agents Godfrey and Shell. He has been facing scrutiny for hiring assassins and has been cleaning up all loose ends. He has one issue, Roland Flint, who has been evading his agents for months. Shell thinks Roland is not an issue and they can take him out if he turns up, but the chief does not believe in chances. He warns the agents to find Roland before his UN hearings begin, or he will blame them for everything. The two agents then plan to bait Roland into showing himself by releasing his sworn enemy, a mob boss named Polo, from prison. We then meet Roland Flint, a former assassin, bathing his brain-dead wife Anna, refusing to abandon her after a brutal attack. The next day he pays the landlady, Mrs. Pavlescu, and thanks her for allowing them to stay. She then tells Roland about a strange new foreigner in town, and Roland becomes worried. In town, Roland ambushes the foreigner in his car, holding a gun to his head. The man is Cully, an old handler of Roland, who swears he was not followed. He tells Roland about an assignment, but Roland is uninterested until he learns that the target is Polo, who is being released from prison. Roland suspects that Polo's release is bait to catch him and is not sure he can trust Cully. He orders Cully to turn up his radio and close his eyes. Cully begs for his life but is spared as Roland disappears. Vincent goes to meet his handler, who is pleased about Vincent's last mission. The clients have paid him in diamonds and have even given him a bonus for his clean work. There is a new assignment, one that doubles Vincent's usual fee. The mark is Polo, but the client wishes to remain anonymous. Vincent takes the contract, as the money is too good to refuse. Polo is released from prison and is met by his two minions. He asks about his brother but learns that he was recently arrested due to a guy ratting to the cops. There is a flashback to a brutal attack on Roland and Anna. He was tied up and forced to watch as Polo wrapped his belt around his fist and beat Anna brutally. The thought still angers him to this day. Vincent gets back to his apartment where he sees a man berating his scared woman. The man sees Vincent looking and explains that he is looking to buy the entire floor, but Vincent refuses. He enters his apartment and places the diamonds along with other payments he has stored up. Roland is unable to sleep that night. He contacts Cully wanting to accept the contract but learns it is already taken. Roland doesn't care about the money and wants intel and gear. Cully warns him that very dangerous people are now involved and suggests that he keep laying low with Anna. Roland fears that Polo may come to finish off him and Anna and wants to hit him first. Cully reluctantly agrees, and the two plan to meet. He makes the hard decision of leaving Anna behind, preparing his weapons and paying Mrs. Pavlescu in advance before setting out. Godfrey and Shell get news that Polo's brother will beat his case due to a missing witness and suspect that Polo will collect him in person. The two leak the news, hoping to draw Flint out. Vincent and his handler get the leaked news, and he prepares to handle business. Roland and Cully also get the news, and though they suspect that it was leaked by Interpol, Roland prepares himself. He takes up position just across from the courthouse with a sniper rifle ready. He takes aim at the door and watches his watch in anticipation. Polo and his brother soon walk out the door, but Vincent also arrives, accidentally hitting Polo's brother when Roland shoots his van. Roland escapes the scene under gunfire, while Roland, unable to take a shot due to the chaos, grabs a pistol and heads downstairs. Just before he can take a shot, he is hit by Godfrey in a car. The cops open fire on their car as they escape before spotting Roland and giving chase. Roland runs into the crowd, then manages to ambush two chasing cops, taking them out before disappearing. Godfrey and Shell blow up their car to get rid of evidence. They now have the interest of Roland and know he will not stop until Polo is dead. They need more weapons to take him on, though, and plan to contact someone named Herod. Polo is angrily holding the arrow that killed his brother. He plans to keep it and use it to kill the assassin that fired it. He knew something was up when he got news of his brother's release, and despite his men suggesting that he disappear for a while, Polo plans to go nowhere until he solves his brother's murder. Cully helps Roland with his wound. He's now sure that it was a setup, but Roland is insistent on seeing things through. Meanwhile, Vincent is taking his failure well, playing his violin. He then hears the gangster next door brutally beating his woman in the hallway and demands that he stop, but when the man continues, Vincent kicks his ass and tells him to leave. He returns to his apartment, but when the girl is unable to re-enter her apartment, Vincent reluctantly invites her inside, giving her an ointment to put on her wounds. He gets a call from his handler who tells him about a third party with a personal vendetta against Polo. Vincent tells the woman to leave, but she begs him to stay for the night in fear that her boyfriend will hurt her again. Despite his better judgment, Vincent tells her to stay, but not to touch anything. Roland gets to a warehouse owned by Polo, taking out the guards keeping watch. He readies his gun and infiltrates the building looking for Polo when he is suddenly ambushed by Vincent. The two fight, and Vincent tells him the Polo contract is his, and losing his money made it personal. The two assassins battle, both extremely skilled. Vincent throws knives, which Roland blocks, before the two aim their guns at each other. The two recall each other from the courthouse incident. As Vincent wants the money for himself, Roland proposes a deal. Polo is bound to double his guards, so Roland thinks working together would be in both their interests since he doesn't want the money. He also adds that he can find Polo faster, since he spent 2 years of his life infiltrating his crew. Polo is likely to sever all his connections except the person who sources and creates his weapons. Seeing the advantage of a partnership, Vincent agrees. Herod is in his office when Roland aims one of his laser-guided guns at him, shooting his computer to show he means business. Herod sees his face and instantly recognizes him. He denies knowing where Polo is, but Roland fires off rounds at him. Herod explains that Polo is moving around to numerous hotels and he will be at the Royal Grand on Friday. He swears he's not lying, but Vincent shoots him dead. Roland wanted to use him as bait to draw out Polo but didn't explain it to Vincent. Polo is grieving over his brother when he gets a picture of Vincent from the courthouse attack and orders his men to mobilize everyone under his command. Vincent returns to his apartment and sees the secret door to his real apartment open. Inside, he sees the girl asleep in his bed and tells her to leave. She gets his pet turtle to come out of its shell, and this fascinates Vincent. He changes his mind and helps her with her wounds, but she falls asleep once more, so he allows her to rest. Cully again tries convincing Roland to stop seeking revenge and leave Polo to Vincent, but Roland is determined to see things through, as the dirty Interpol cops are now his target also. The Interpol chief is in his office when he is held at gunpoint by Roland, who warns him to call off his agents or his wife will also become a target. The visit is brief as Roland disappears once more. The chief is very angry the next day and insists that Roland should die in the next 48 hours or he will turn in both Shell and Godfrey. Polo and his men track down Vincent's handler, demanding to know everyone involved in his contract, threatening to hurt him. The handler is not fazed and his men with guns surround Polo, including Godfrey and Shell. Godfrey makes Polo a deal, immunity and a ticket out of Europe in exchange for help killing Roland. Polo accepts but demands the head of Vincent as part of the deal. The handler has no issue, as long as the price is right. Vincent and the woman, October, have an argument about his line of work. Vincent thinks being a killer serves its function, like for example a doctor, but October thinks he just loves killing. Vincent leaves the apartment and runs into her boyfriend, who threatens Vincent for costing him business, but he is not fazed. Polo has captured a man snooping around, who turns out to be Cully. He refuses to talk, so Polo begins to torture him. Vincent goes to meet with his handler, who offers him a lot of money to lead Roland into a trap. He explains the history between Roland and Polo and how Roland stole a ton of Interpol's dirty money, which is why the agents are after him. The handler pays a third of the money up front, which is a lot of diamonds, and Vincent accepts the mission. He tells Roland about Polo meeting a councilman the next day. He is worried that Roland may end up dead since his fight is personal, but Roland is determined to avenge his wife. He then leaves Vincent in deep thought. Vincent and October are at home when she begins asking him personal questions about his feelings and thoughts. She wants to leave the city and start over her life, and lays her head on Vincent. Polo is at his hideout checking out the chicks for the evening when he gets a visit from October's former pimp, who reveals he has seen Vincent at his apartment. Vincent prepares to head out the following day with October giving him a kiss, telling him to be careful. Roland arrives at City Hall the next day and scopes the building out, with Vincent also there. Polo soon arrives, and everything goes into motion. Roland aims his gun but is soon attacked by men. He fights them off but is tased by Godfrey and arrested. Vincent does nothing, and the two stare at each other as Roland is taken. Polo shows up, telling Roland that Cully spilled everything, and they will be paying his wife a visit soon. Vincent collects the rest of his payment. The handler has another job, but Vincent is ready to take some time off. The phone rings, and it is Polo. He has found his apartment and has October captured, threatening to kill her unless Vincent turns himself over. Vincent, however, shocks him by hanging up the phone. He now realizes that his handler double-crossed him and ends their partnership. The handler thinks he is overreacting, but if Vincent overreacted, he would be dead. Roland is strung up by his arms with electric wires strapped to his body. He tells the men to let him go, and he will disappear, but Godfrey and Shell are determined to get their money back. Vincent returns to his destroyed apartment and is shocked to see October's mutilated body on his bed. He is filled with rage and regret seeing this and goes to speak with the handler. The guard tries to stop him, but one look at Vincent, and he moves. He demands Roland's whereabouts, returning the payment he received for setting him up. The handler agrees to help for free to repair their relationship and tells him where Roland is being held. Roland is being tortured for information but refuses to give up any details. After another round of beatings, Godfrey again demands their cash, but Roland tells him he spent it all. Suddenly, one of the men drops dead with knives in his back. The men pull their weapons, but Vincent suddenly opens fire, killing Godfrey and another man. Shell is left, and he threatens to kill Roland unless Vincent shows himself. He gets too close to Roland, who uses him to break free before strangling him with his chains. Vincent apologizes for setting Roland up and helps him out of the building. Polo receives his immunity from the Interpol chief. He is unable to get through to Godfrey and fears Roland has escaped. Seeing they share the same enemy, the two make a plan. Vincent and Roland set out to get their vengeance. Roland contacts Mrs. Pavlescu to try and warn her, but the lines are cut. At that moment, Polo and his men enter and shoot Mrs. Pavlescu dead. Roland and Vincent stop a distance from the house and approach on foot, where they see Polo's men. Roland then gets a video from Polo of him threatening Anna with a knife. He demands that Roland and Vincent surrender themselves within 15 minutes, or he and his men will take turns with her. Roland and Vincent exit the forest with their hands up and surrender themselves to the men who remove Roland's cell phone and Vincent's diamonds. They are brought before Polo, who is sitting at Anna's bedside. He is pleased, having captured both his brother's killer and the man who betrayed him, and has plans for them. Vincent then offers Polo $12 million, showing him the pouch of diamonds and explaining he has more hidden. Vincent offers to leave Roland behind and fetch the rest for Polo. The two get into an argument over this, distracting the men, and Roland dives for his cell phone, which is actually the remote for the laser-guided machine gun, which rips the room to shreds. Roland goes after Polo, and the two struggle over a knife until Vincent knocks him down. He leaves Roland to get his revenge. Roland orders Polo to beg Anna for forgiveness, putting a knife to his neck. Polo screams for forgiveness, but Roland tells him Anna cannot hear him before stabbing Polo, killing him. He then breaks down, apologizing to Anna. He then meets up with Vincent outside, and the two set off. A few days later, the Interpol chief is at home with his wife, while October's pimp is getting a massage. As Vincent decapitates him, Roland shoots the chief, killing him. In the end, Anna is brought in for an experimental treatment with hopes of recovery. Vincent visits a church for the first time in years and says a prayer for October.